So, apparently, multicam is out, Ranger Green is out, and Woodland is back in. In fact, not only is it back in, it's based to wear it. Well, shit. And I was just about to invest in brushstroke. Alright, so, I'm gonna go out in the woods and rant because apparently that's what we do now, go out in the woods and rant. I'm actually way cooler than Krisky. He doesn't know it yet, but I didn't want to put on all my shit so I could also be cool and prove how cool I was to the internet. So we're just gonna walk around and rant about camo. So listen up here, kids. Here's the thing about camo. Nobody fucking cares about your fucking camo. Here's why. Let's talk about the current Woodland fad for a bit. Alright? Let's rewind back to the ancient days of like the 90s, somewhere in there. Alright? Back then, everybody wore Woodland. Everybody wore the fucking M81 Woodland because that's all there was. That was the endless parade of Woodland on the surplus market. That's all there was. And because that's what there was massive quantities of, everybody wore it. Nobody knew that they were accidentally based for wearing this cheap and easily available surplus camo. But, I mean, maybe they were more based back then than we are, considering there were a couple famous events where certain government agencies came off somewhat worse to wear. Who knows? Anyways, all I'm saying is people have been wearing that shit forever, and also it's like the most widely used camo like around the world. Like fucking, you know, even Al-Qaeda loves that shit. I mean, really. Anyways, so the 90s happened, and you had, you know, the civilian gun community got themselves all on Twizzy because they were like, my militias, that's scary, the government will get us. And then you had the whole movement of like the anti-camo people were like, no, we don't wear camo anymore as civilians because it gives negative militia stereotypes, the government. Anyways, so a big part of the civilian shooting community kind of like got their panties in a twist in a very decidedly unbased manner, because most of the shooting community are a bunch of little bitches who are more afraid of their own shadows than anything else. Not that I'm making any accusations, but you know how it be. Anyways, these unbased people then decided that camo was bad. No camo. We must go away from camo. No camo must ever be seen on a civilian's kit, lest they frighten the other civilians, which is dumb as fuck. But that's how you saw the rise of people glomming onto other patterns, or should I say the other lack of patterns, stuff like, you know, Cody Brown. That's how Cody Brown became to be kind of like the civilian pattern, because back in the ancient days of like the early 2000s and the mid 2000s, Ranger Green wasn't really a thing. Well, I mean, it was there, but like not everybody had glommed onto, you know, producing it, because apparently that's like the best color ever now, for reasons. Anyways, because your major choices in gear back in the ancient of days were pretty much ancient load-bearing equipment in a camo pattern that everyone was afraid of, or, you know, stuff like, oh god, my OPSEC. No! Was that a house in the background? You'll never know. Anyways, people got afraid of camo. Ranger Green wasn't super readily accessible outside of some companies. So the next best pattern that you could find easily accessible equipment in was Cody Brown. So that sort of by default became accepted as like the civilian color. And everyone used, you know, the usual justifications of, it looks cleaner, it looks more professional than camo. You know, all the stuff they say these days about, like, justifying Ranger Green over Cody Brown. How it's like, ooh, it's more professional, it looks cleaner, it's better at night. Yeah, you chuckle fucks, we've heard all this already. This was the exact same thing people said when Cody Brown was the only option. It's great, nothing wrong. Anyways, so what was my point? Did I even have a point? Is there a point to even be made? This is YouTube after all. My point being, there's really no no point to this whole M81 is based bullshit, okay? It's never been more based or less based than the other camo. I mean, god damn it, I want fucking DPM. You know, the classic woodland British color. That's pretty slick. Why don't we have DPM gear anymore? Because I think that's cooler than M81. Is it more based like that because it's a more rare camo pattern? I don't fucking know. Here's the thing. And this is probably going to rustle some jimmies, but it's my opinion. It's the internet, and I'm just some dumbass walking around in the woods, ranting into a phone, because I had nothing else to do with my life today. If you're on the civilian side, it literally does not fucking matter what you wear. Alright? Now, we could also have a side conversation about, whatever we could say, unit cohesion, or, oh god, I'm gonna die. It's the outdoors. I don't want to touch any grass anymore, mommy. Give me chicken nuggies. What was I saying? Yeah, you could argue a point about having a camo pattern or a specific color if you have like a group of people and you want to have some kind of like, you know, unit cohesion, if you will, and present a more presentable public front if you're out in public. I like repeating words. Stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, it really does not matter what you wear. And trying to like, I mean, I love T-Rex arms. You know, I think they've done great shit. And to be quite blunt, the fact that he pisses off all the right people just makes it even better. But let's, you know, I'll just straight up shit on the whole thing for a minute. Trying to say that a certain pattern is more or less based than another pattern is nuts, and quite frankly is obviously somebody reaching for promotional content so that people will buy their gear. Well, okay, great, good for you, but you know, like, people have been using fucking woodland since long before you or anybody else decided it was magically based. I think fucking Coyote Brown is the most based color. You know why? Because it can be any color. There you go. Suck on that. But where I was getting at before, with my point about camo in general, if you're on the civilian side of things and you don't have a requirement to wear a certain pattern or whatever as part of your country's military, it doesn't matter what you wear, because you've got issues with, you know, terrain. You're in the woods, you're in a sandy area, like, what are you gonna do? Oh no, I live in an area where M81 isn't this pattern, I guess I can't be based now. Ugh. Like, who cares? You know, you're gonna, you know, if you've been paying any attention to, how can I say, Ukraine? Anyways, if you've been paying any attention to that, the ability to hide in general these days is becoming greatly diminished. So, to be blunt, is there really that big of a difference in you picking a camo pattern versus a regular old solid color like brown or green that overall matches your environment, and then maybe adding some, you know, scrim to your shit to break up your profile? I mean, you know, I'm not going to claim to have like gobs of real world experience because I'm just a dumbass on the internet. But I have been in many events where I've seen people wearing wild varieties of camo in the woods, and it kind of doesn't really fucking matter. You know, you know, take multicam for example. I've seen situations where, with the right foliage and lighting and shit, like, those guys wearing multicam just straight up disappear. you really had to look twice to see them. And then I've seen other situations where those people were in the same multicam, stuck out like a sore thumb, and the guys wearing the, you know, ancient ass fucking Vietnam era OD green fatigues blended in like they couldn't even see them at all. So it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm sure I'm gonna rustle everybody's jimmies. Obviously, Fleck Tarn is the best camo ever. There you go, I said it. There, the internet is pleased now. But anyways, in the grand scheme of things, if you're a civilian, it doesn't matter what you wear as long as it's, you know, a general pattern that you feel best fits your area. I just find it amusing that in general, you know, I'm kind of shitting on TRX Arms here right now for, you know, trying to make a camo pattern fit a political outlook, but in the general scheme of things, trying to it's just a piggyback. It's a piggyback on the current day meme that is Woodland. I just find it fucking amusing to see Woodland coming back around as like the camo of choice when it always has been. It's always been the camo of choice for non-governmental entities such as civilians in the United States, because the simple fact is it's always been the most available. Of course, you know, yeah, sure, GWAT, that's changed, whatever, but I find it amusing. Kind of about as amusing as the whole comeback of, like, the Ricky rigs. Bruh, it's just a chest rig, alright? It's a full-featured chest rig like everybody's been wearing for decades before you discovered it. Like, yay, good job. You did a thing. You have the same gear everyone's been wearing for decades. Nothing new here. Anyways. What was I getting at? This was a long-ass rant for no reason. If you made it this far, just pick whatever fucking color you want and wear it. I mean, my God. You know, really, just wear a pattern that makes you happy.